guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be doing a book haul, and I have my lovely assistant here to help me because she does not want to leave me alone right now. No, she doesn't. This is Taco, for anyone who does not know. It's reading time here at J-Bay's Corner. For those of you that are new here, my name is Jaya. I put out videos every Wednesday and Sunday on primarily bookish related content, and today is no different. We are going to be doing a bookish haul, which I hope you guys enjoy. For those of you that are new, welcome. I have a slight unhealthy relationship with books, slight addiction to fiction. If that sounds like you or something you may enjoy, you're definitely in the right place. So definitely consider becoming a part of our community and hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell. For those of you that are returning, this channel would not exist without each and every one of you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you for watching the videos and all of your comments. It means the absolute world to me. And without further ado, let's get into the books. Now, the first book that I ended up picking up was a new Stephen King novel. This is actually a book that has been on my TBR for years. I feel like I did read it at some point, but literally it must have been 9th grade. And to give an idea, I'm 35 now. So I have completely forgotten what this book is about. So I decided it was time to expand the Stephen King collection, and I ended up picking up Pet Sematary. When Dr. Lewis Creed takes a new job and moves his family to the idyllic and rural town of Ludlow, Maine, this new beginning seems too good to be true. Yet despite Ludlow's tranquility, there's an undercurrent of danger that exists here. Those trucks on the road outside the Creed's beautiful home travel by just a little too quickly for one thing, as evidenced by the makeshift pet cemetery out back in the nearby woods. Then there are the warnings to Lewis, both real and from the depths of his nightmares, that he should not venture beyond the borders of this little graveyard. A blood-chilling truth is hidden there, one more terrifying than death itself, and hideously more powerful. An ominous fate befalls anyone who dares tamper with this forbidden place, as Lewis is about to discover for himself. So definitely very excited to see where this book leads us. I have heard wonderful things about this book. I remember having great feelings about this book, so cannot wait to pick this little boy up in October during thriller and horror season. I'm also a sucker for a good sprayed edge, and when I saw that this series was complete and available at a very discounted rate on none other than Amazon, I decided I needed to pick up the Pacific Shores novels. Look how beautiful these painted edges are. Aren't they just gorgeous? So this series, it sounds like it's going to be interesting. Definitely sounds like there will be some spice in there as well, but I'm not 100% sure what the books are about. I fully plan on going in blind, so let's read the backs together. This is Heathen and Honeysuckle. Kept promises, broken hearts. Then, Leo Graham knows nothing new ever happens in the small town of Pacific Shores. That is, until he runs into his new neighbor, golden-haired, honey-eyed, and sharp-tongued Darby Andrews. The mischievous surfer is immediately smitten with the innocent girl next door and vows to dedicate his summer to bringing out her wild side. As Leo and Darby's budding friendship turns into a burning love that neither of them could have expected, Leo is determined to protect it at all costs, until he finds the girl of his teenage dreams ran away in the middle of the night without so much as a goodbye. Now, Darby Andrews is Crestwell, Kansas's golden child. She's always been a rule follower, save for one secret summer spent living with her grandmother in California, the consequences of which will haunt her a decade later. Darby's always done what she was told, including agreeing to marry the man handpicked by her demanding father. While perfect on paper, Darby knows what love is, and her engagement to Jackson Montague isn't it. When the boy whose heart she broke all those years ago shows up on the cusp of her nuptials, claiming to have received a letter she never meant to send him, and offer to run away, Darby's left with a choice: remain the good girl she's always been, or become the wild spirit she's always wished to be. So it does sound very sweet. It sounds very like romantic and very cute, very small town vibes a little bit, which is perfect, I think, in the right season and the right time. And for me, that usually means a good summer read or like maybe a good spring read. So I feel like this is going to be perfect for that season. And then we have book number 2. So Wicked and Wildflower. One night is never enough. When Dahlia Andrews uprooted her life in Kansas to start over in Pacific Shores, the last thing she expected was to become wrapped up in one night of wicked passion with a nameless local. Even less expected, said stranger happens to be her new boss, and the son of her only friend in town, and her brother-in-law's in-law? Whatever Everett Ramos is to her, it's too complicated to be more than their one-night stand. Dahlia has enough on her plate, a new job, familial turmoil, and raising her daughter alone. But when the chaos of her life begins to spill over, Everett may be the only person who can save her. Everett Ramos never cared about much beyond his family and his business until a hurricane of storm blue eyes and mile-long legs barreled into his best friend's bar and turned his entire life upside down. Dahlia Andrews is complicated and stubborn, with an iron cage built around her fragile heart. All it took was one night with her to leave him craving more. So when she comes to him for help keeping her toxic father at bay, he finds himself leaping at any excuse to get closer to her. While Dahlia insists their arrangement is all business, Everett can't deny their orbital pull. He's all in, but can she be convinced this wild love is worth the risk? So again, very interesting. We shall see. We shall see. Then we have Reckless Roses. Love is reckless. For Augustus Hayes, first love was instantaneous. From the moment he found her scaling a tree in his yard, plucking purple flowers from its branches, August knew his heart belonged to Elena Ramos. Elena had the same experience about August's older brother, Zach, that is. Deciding he'd rather have her as a friend than nothing at all, August ferments himself in Elena's friend zone, unable to let go of the hope that someday she'll choose him. Elena Ramos has always romanticized the world around her, chalk it up to her writer's soul or her passion for romance novels, but she believes wholeheartedly in young love. Anyone can do it right the first time, if only they refuse to give up. At least that's what she tells herself. Each time her on-again, off-again relationship with Zach Hayes begins to feel more like a nightmare than a daydream. After nearly a decade, they call it quits for good, and her best friend steps in to fix her broken pieces. Only then does Elena realize how blind she's been to the person standing in front of her all this time. Just as Elena and August decide to transform their friendship into something more, an unimaginable tragedy strikes them both. Will a lifetime of falling in love be enough to hold them together when their entire world falls apart? Intriguing. And then we have Weis and Violets. Is there a light left in the dark? Elena Ramos has always set a clear path for her future. She knew exactly what she wanted out of life and was determined to find the kind of happily ever after she loved to write about. Until the most devastating of tragedies turned her entire world on its axis. Plagued with irreparable pain and guilt, the finality of this heartbreak feels impossible to recover from, sending Elena into a dark spiral she doesn't know how to escape. Augustus Hayes considered himself a dreamer, meaning he forced himself into the contentment of dreaming up a reality that never be his. That is until a door leading to the love affair of a lifetime opened, and he found himself grasping for the handle. But when the worst possible consequences for his choices come crashing down around him, he's lost sight of everything he'd ever known. There's only one person who can pull August and Elena from their respective depths of despair, but are their wounds too deep and their secrets too dark for either of them to find the courage to be the other's light? So should be very interesting. I have a suspicion Zach's going to die. This is just me theorizing, and it is going to throw them both into a fritzy and a loop, but I think it'll be interesting nonetheless to see where the stories of Pacific Shores take me. I have heard amazing things about this book, and so many of my friends who have read the Assistant to the Villain series, which I'm obsessed with, have told me that I need to read this series. So when I found this beautiful copy in Target, I had to pick this paperback version of the first book up. It's called The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Brigitte Knightley. Let's see what it's about. Book 1 of the dearly beloved duology. Loyalties are tested in this slow burn, enemies to lovers, romantasy following an assassin and a healer forced to work together to cure a fatal disease while resisting the urge to kill each other, or worse, fall in love. When Osric Mordaunt, member of the Firen Order of Assassins, falls ill, he realizes he needs the expertise of a very specific healer. As fate would have it, that healer belongs to an enemy faction, the Heathen Order. Aureen Fairham and her fellow Heathen are inundated by sick children suffering from an outbreak of a previously long-forgotten pox. Unable to get the funding needed to launch an immunization program, the Heathen Order is desperate for money. So desperate that when Osric breaks into their headquarters to bribe Aureen to heal him, she's forced to accept. As Osric and Aurine work together to solve not only his illness, but the mysterious reoccurrence of the pox, they find themselves ardently denying their attraction, which only fuels the tension between them. Personally, I feel like this one's going to be really fun. It reminds me of a more positive, whimsical version of Nocticadia. And considering that my background is in like medicine, healthcare, I feel like this is going to be so much fun for me to read, especially the pox portion and the component of where the disease came from and the epidemiology and whether or not they can cure it. Just sounds like it's going to be such a blast. So definitely super excited to jump into this book. The second book in the series has released, so I'll probably end up doing this one in paperback, and then the second one I will probably do on Kindle or something like that, and then wait for the second book to be published in paperback so I can have the beautiful matching set. Up next, I have a book here that has been long awaited in the Nyaxia series by Carrisa Broadbent. This is the 5th installment in the series. That series is written as a set of 6 books, with 2 books being a duology apiece, basically talking about the various vampire clans of night which are living in the world of Nyaxia. I have done reviews on the other duologies, if you will, and absolutely loved them. So when I heard that the 5th book in the series has finally dropped, I had to pick it up. So we have The Lion and the Deathless Dark, which sounds so interesting, and this beautiful, beautiful purple binding. So let's talk a little bit about what this one's about. Some blood tastes like vengeance. Some blood tastes like grief. Some blood tastes like nothing at all. Under an eternal night, the world has been ravaged by 10 years of war between humans and vampires. Kyrene escapes as a bounty hunter, bearing a blessed sword from the goddess of justice, until she commits a crime that makes her a target for mortals and gods alike. Her only chance at survival and revenge is making a deal with her enemy, the silver-tongued vampire prince Septimus, who offers her one final job: to slay the gods themselves. Together, Kyrene and Septimus must hunt the ultimate marks, all while navigating a web of prophecies and curses. But their growing attraction is deadly in a world where the only currency is blood, and Kyrene will stop at nothing to fulfill her ultimate goal: to kill the goddess of vampires, even if it means sacrificing love for the revenge. I think this one's going to be really interesting. Septimus is a character that was basically introduced much earlier on in the earlier books, and he is devious and ruthless and intelligent in a way that you don't really see in the other vampire characters, and he's got an entire bloodline curse riding on him, and he just wants to save his people. So I think this will be a very interesting novel, especially because he's a character that has been avoiding love his whole life because he just wants to make it to the next day, essentially. So I think this is going to be a very, very fascinating book, especially as we see that the gods themselves are more fallible than we may have originally imagined. I think Carrisa did a very good job of humanizing the gods as well and showing that they're not perfect. So I think it'll be interesting to see where the series takes us. Earlier, I had mentioned that one of my favorite series of all time is The Assistant to the Villain. It is such a cute series. It is literally probably the best way to describe it: cozy mystery vibes. And I was so excited when I found out that the 4th book in the series has finally released. Now, the going belief is that there will be 5 books total in the series. The previous book was the one that had the biggest cliffhanger at the end of the book, so I'm very excited to see where we end up going with this one. And as always, the cover is absolutely adorable. Up here, we have the 2 plants that say Nightshade and Wolfsbane. So that's what those little guys say. We have the lovely, lovely prince who's holding up a sign that says Slay. And then there's a bookshelf with like a bunch of different various potion pieces. And it says, anything you can do, I can do evil. And then we have, of course, the dragon breathing fire and all of the wonderful books and accoutrements at the bottom. Let me read some of the titles. Good inbox, evil outbox. Big book of evil speeches. How to be a bad boss babe. Vile or evil, which is for me. If at first you don't succeed, burn it all down. Start your own evil empire in 5 easy steps. Your minions and you. Advanced villainy. Plots, plans, poisons. The subtle art of torture. And then on the mug it says, got my cauldron brew, might plot a coup. And then writing your villain backstory, death and dismemberment. the little box of dragons. So cute. I love how detailed and descriptive the front covers are. They're just so cute. So here we go. HR update. The position of adversary to the villain has been filled. Evie Sage does not recall applying. Evie has always tried to be helpful, loyal, and only mildly involved in treason, but with a dangerous prophecy threatening the very magic of Renindon, not to mention the race to claim its necessary artifacts before King Benedict does, there are starting to feel less like a career path and more like a serious problem. The prophecy won't stop pointing in Evie's direction. The villain's magic keeps choosing her. And honestly, if you're going to be accused of evil anyways, you might as well commit. Unfortunately, the more Evie leans into her alleged villain era, the more her boss starts acting like the hero of a completely different story. Tristan is getting closer than is wise, advisable, or even remotely professional, and looking at her like she's already chosen a side, his, which is deeply inconvenient because if Evie can't save the kingdom's magic, she might just become its greatest threat. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love the cover. Absolutely love the black and pink. I am so excited for this book. So excited. With it being Dark Academia season, I had decided that I was going to read Modern Divination this month, and then I realized it's actually a duology. I also found out that the second book has in fact released, so I ended up picking up Quiet Spells by Isa Agajanian. So I'm very excited to see where the duology will take us. This book, ghosts pass through the cottage sitting on the peak of Townsend Hill, like passengers in a train station. Some Teddy Ingram knew stayed longer than others. More than half a year has passed since the disappearance of Gemma Eakley, and Teddy still has no clue as to whether she is alive, dead, or something worse. With Gemma's young daughter left in his care, Teddy haunts the rural heaven of Townsend like one of its many spirits. But then, Aurelia, his beloved former rival, returns with the news that her mother, Meredith, is dead, and a ghost forms from the pages of her farewell to give the would-be lovers a message. They won't let me rest. Meredith's former coven's efforts to reverse the looming extinction of witches involves resurrecting the dead, and they want to know what secrets she took with her to the funeral pyre. Does she hold the key to fixing their botched attempts at necromancy? From the acclaimed author of Modern Divination comes the dark and magical conclusion to the Spells for Life and Death duology. So again, very excited. I'm also thinking it's perfect timing because Modern Divination was on my list for the August TBR, since we are tapping into the world of Dark Academia this upcoming month. Definitely stick around for that video. It should be coming out soon as well, but very, very pumped to know that the duology is complete and very excited to have this book on my shelf. Okay, so before I talk about this book, my childhood. So my parents are amazing. My father actually was born and raised in the United States, and he is what you could equivocally call a nerd. And so growing up as a child, one of the things that we used to do is Dungeons and Dragons campaigns and things like that when I was a kid. And there is a set of authors, Margaret, Weis, and Tracy Hickman, that actually took their experiences playing this game and created an entire fantasy realm and world out of it. This is probably the equivalent of reading Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit. It takes us back to original fantasy at its best, not necessarily romantasy, but true fantasy with orcs and goblins and dwarves and elves and all such other things, and humans and mages and thieves. And when I realized that they had actually taken the first 3 books in the original trilogy, Dragons of Autumn Twilight, Dragons of Winter Night, and Dragons of Spring Dawning, and turned it into a collector's edition, I had to get it. So this is the Dragonlance Chronicles. I am so excited to have this in hand, and I will read the back for you guys just to give a vibe here. Rediscover the world of Dragonlance with the first 3 novels in one of the most popular fantasy series of all time, now featuring a new foreword by Joe Manganiello. I don't know how to say that name. Dragons, creatures of legend, stories told to children. But now dragons have returned to Kern, the darkness and where war and destruction threatens to engulf the land. Then hope appears, a blue crystal staff in the hands of a beautiful barbarian woman. This promise of hope, as fleeting as smoke upon the autumn winds, forces a group of longtime friends into the unlikely roles of heroes. Knight and barbarian, warrior and half-elf, dwarf and kender, and dark-souled mage. They began a perilous quest for the legendary Dragonlance. I am so excited to reread these series. I read this originally when I was probably in 10th grade and fell in love with this series. I think I finished all 3 books within the span of like a week and a half, and I was just so excited to find out that it's back. So I am definitely hoping to get into this in September when I do my full-fledged dive back into fantasy. So very, very excited for this book. And then I also found out that they did the second set of books following the twin mages in the Dragonlance Legends collection. So I had to pick up this one as well. These books are massive. They're like 1,000 pages long. And then this is the second major trilogy within the world of Dragonlance. And I'm so excited. The twins, Raistlin Maehrer, powerful archmage. He abandons his brother to walk the path of darkness. As his lust for power grows, he plans to challenge the gods in a battle that could destroy the world. And Carrisa Maehrer, courageous warrior. He must find a way to stop his brother and save mankind. But first, he must save himself. Beside them, Chrysania, cleric of the gods of good. Her own ambitious goals blinds her to the truth. And Tasselhoff Barefoot, kender and friend to all. He tries to help with near disastrous results. Dragonlance Legends is an epic tale of magic, love, war, and sacrifice, and the perilous journey through time that will forever change them all. So overall, all I can say is just super excited to have both of these series in my hands. I have not read these books in so long, and I'm so excited to have them. And that does bring me to the end of this video. For those of you that made it through the end, thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you for seeing the wonderful haul that has been collected over the course of the past couple of months. Please let me know what you guys have purchased as well. Any new books on your bookshelves that I should know about, any books that I should be hauling myself, definitely let me know. Also, if you guys have read any of these books, leave me a comment below. I love reading them, I love responding to them, and I would love to know your thoughts on these series as well. For those of you that are new here, once again, I put out videos every Wednesday and Sunday, primarily on bookish related content. And for those of you that are returning, I cannot thank you enough for all of your love and your support. I did want to mention, however, this upcoming Sunday, which will be August the 9th, there will not be a video. August 9th, once again, there will not be a video. However, we will go back to regularly scheduled program of Wednesday and Sunday bookish content starting the following Wednesday on the 12th. But the 9th, we will not be putting out a video. I am taking a small break from the YouTube content just as I rethink my ideas of what videos I want to be putting out and have more fun things coming up for you guys. So I do apologize for that ahead of time. I will be skipping that one video, but otherwise we will be back to regular programming. And once again, I just want to say to each and every one of you, thank you so much for taking the time to click on this video, for sitting through it, for watching it, for my OGs, for my subscribers. I can't thank you enough for your love, your support. I would not be able to do this without you. And for anyone who's new here, welcome. Welcome to the Bookish Obsession, and thank you for hanging out with us. It means the absolute world to me. And I just want to leave everybody with this. Wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, evening, or night, I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful time, that you're getting plenty of time to rest, relax, and read, and that you're surrounded by love, joy, and family. I'll catch you on the next video. Bye, guys.